Hello, my name's Natasha and today I'm going to talk to you about my recent reads. I'm going to do this when I've got 5 or 6 books I think, and I'll just do a quick snapshot of what I thought about them. I'm going to be looking down at my Goodreads for some help here because some of these I've forgotten that I've already read. So I started off the year by reading Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. I just want to say that I don't have the physical copy of a lot of these books because I don't tend to keep my books, and so these have already gone back to the charity shop. I don't tend to reread a lot of books, so it's only if I'm going to reread them or if they're part of a series do I keep them. So if they are just a standalone book, then they will either be passed on to somebody else or I'll take them back to the charity shop where I buy a lot of my books from. So I started the year 2020 by reading Rainbow Rowell's Attachment. It was a quick and easy book to read. It was set in the 90s, is it 99 before it goes to 2000 I think, and we follow a guy who is working in a newspaper and he's in the IT section and he monitors people's emails, and when they get flagged for talking about personal things or inappropriate things, then he has to contact the individuals and give them warnings. And in doing his job he reads some emails from 2 ladies who go backwards and forwards, who clearly give no shits about the policy at work, and he doesn't really send them any warnings and then continues reading their emails, not other emails, just the ones that are flagged. And he finds himself falling for one of the women, having never met her. I enjoyed the friendship between the 2 female characters, but I didn't really care whether the man and woman got together. I just didn't really care. I didn't have any feelings for them, and I felt a little bit uncomfortable at times because I felt that I don't know, there was it felt a bit inappropriate, and also things happened quite quickly, and it was a 3 out of 5 stars for me. It's as simple as that. It was just okay. The next book I read was Illumination by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I don't know why I suddenly blanked on their names, but I did. And I still have a copy of this because obviously it's the first one in the Illumination series, but also my husband is intending on reading this. I gave this, I rounded it up to 5 stars on Goodreads, but I gave this a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed the way, like visually, this book did something for me as I was reading it. It was just, not only was the story original and captured my attention, but I visually just breezed through it because it just kept me interested. It's essentially, the book is made up of transcripts of interviews and letters and emails and instant messaging and conversations and images and documents to tell the story of 17 and 18-year-old Katie and Ezra as they and thousands of other people are trying to escape their planet that has just been attacked. And we follow 3 spaceships, and in the mixed media way that the book is, we follow as if we're like an insider and we're privy to the information because we've got the transcripts and things, so you feel like you're not a member, you feel like you know lots of bits and pieces, and so you feel like you're in the midst of it all. And it just kept me engrossed and interested, and it was just, I didn't know that it was more of a YA book when I started reading it. I don't know why I didn't realise that, but it didn't matter. I still enjoyed it and I look forward to continuing the series. So this was a good one. So the next book I read, I did a mixture of reading and listening with an audiobook from my library, and I read Got to Get Through This by Louis Theroux. Louis Theroux reads the audiobook, and I feel so many people really loved this book and I feel like a complete outsider. I struggled. It was long, it was just hard work, and even with reading and listening, I normally breeze through things quickly that way because I listen when I'm cleaning or driving or doing other things, and then I'll sit and I'll read and get up to certain points, and I just get through stuff quite quickly that way. But this felt like a bit of a hard slog. I have to admit, I'm primarily a fiction reader, and so I do find non-fiction a little bit more difficult because I get engrossed in fiction, and it just takes over and I just breeze through it because I love being in that world or feeling those emotions. I don't connect in the same way, even when it's about somebody that I really, really like. For example, I find Sarah Millican very funny. I've been and watched her a few times, but I even found her autobiography slower for me to read and a little bit harder for me to read than I would do a fiction book. Louis Theroux isn't one of my favourite people, so I have watched a lot of the documentaries he's talking about. I didn't find that I learned anything that much new, really, and it felt like there was a hell of a lot about Jimmy Savile in there, and I wasn't that entertained and I wasn't that captured by the stories or by his narrative. Overall, I found it a bit slow, dull and repetitive, and I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. I know there's lots of people who like it and it might be something for you and it might suit you, but unfortunately this one was not for me. I'm only going to talk about 2 more books. The next one is The Bromance Club by Lyssa Kay Adams. Yes. I received this as an ARC through NetGalley, which I really appreciated. And that was in exchange for an honest review on their website, and potentially on Amazon when it got released. I think it was just their website, actually. Immediately after finishing out, I was like, I love it, I'm in love, but I decided to wait before writing my review because I was wrapped up in this bubble of this story. A few days later, I still decided to give it 4 stars. The main character, called Gavin, his wife Thea asks him for a divorce, and he hits this rock bottom, and he's a professional baseball player, and a couple of his teammates come in and they take him under their wing. And they introduce him to the Bromance book club. They don't call it this. The guys read romance novels where they hope to understand their women, that sounds a bit wrong, but their partners, their female partners, a bit more. They believe that the women are reading these books because there's something in there that they enjoy or something that they want, or just that in these books it tells them how they could be more romantic or how they could be better lovers or lots of different things. So they read these books in order to educate themselves a little bit into how to be better partners. And so begins Gavin's challenge, where he decides to try and win Thea back, or win back her heart. And it was a fun, easy read. It was a little bit smutty at times. The book is told from the perspective of both Gavin and Thea, which was quite good, so you got to see where they were both at. I read this in a day. It just was a quick, easy breezy book, and I really enjoyed it, actually. So much so that I pre-ordered the second book on my Kindle, and but NetGalley have contacted me and have given me an advance copy of that, so I really appreciate that from them. But it was a really good book. I liked it, and if you're into sort of light-hearted romance but you enjoy having something from the male perspective as well as the female perspective, then it's good. The final book that I'm going to talk about is the 5th book that I've read so far this year, and it's also another advance copy that I got via NetGalley. And this, I believe it's out now but not in paperback. I think you can get a digital version, but it's called The New Guy. And this book, oh, who's the author? Catherine Freeman is the author. Sorry, I couldn't remember who it was by. That was weird, I just suddenly went all blue. So in this book, The New Guy, we follow Sam, who is drinking in a bar after the death of her grandfather, and she just had a tough time, and it's topped off by the death of her grandfather. And then also in the same bar is Ryan, who is having his own troubles. And Sam and Ryan end up hooking up and having a one-night stand, and the following day Ryan starts his new job and Sam is his CEO. As soon as I read the synopsis, I wanted to read this book. I thought it would be right up my street, and overall it was an easy read. It was predictable though, and I liked the characters, but I was frustrated because it's a sort of book where there's like miscommunication or a lack of communication, and that's not something that I enjoy reading about. I get frustrated and be like, just bloody talk to each other. I found it more frustrating than entertaining as a reader. There weren't any really dramatic highs and lows throughout the story, and none of them kept me hooked, but there was a side character called Lucas that I really enjoyed. I found him quite entertaining, and so overall I gave this book just an average 3 stars. I believe other people might actually enjoy it much more than I did. It just didn't quite do it for me. It's a good book, but it isn't the best book for me. Out of those 5 books, Illuminate was my favourite, and I really enjoyed it, and I will be continuing the series. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little wrap up of the first 5 books that I read this year, and I'd love to hear what your favourite books have been so far this year, or recommendations. These are my to be read books, but I don't think you can have too many books. So thank you for watching, take care, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.